What's going on, everybody? It is TripleCrown24 back today on a Wednesday. I probably sound a bit congested. I am under the weather for the reason that you probably guess I'd be under the weather. But I'll be fine. It's starting to get better. I appreciate all the well wishes that I got in various places. But today is an exciting day. I got a big card back from PSA. If you follow the channel, you'll know what it is. I showed it off in a separate video a few weeks back, and you can kind of see a little preview of it down there in the bottom right corner with a little thumbnail of it that I had uploaded to Twitter. So I'll show that one off, and then I'm going to get into some pickups from WhatNot. First time buying off of that app. I did have a few that came in the previous week, but those have already been kind of inventoried and sorted out. So I want to show off some of the other stuff that I get in. I have a lot of really great stuff that I won over the weekend, but of course, with it being a holiday weekend, that stuff probably won't ship out until today at the earliest. So be waiting a few days to get those in, but I'll definitely shoot another video for that coming up. So with that said, should be a lot of content coming out on the channel this week. I am going to try to record a podcast solo for Sports Card Psychology. Fingers crossed that I can get that out. But if I don't really sound too good by Thursday, then may just take a week off, regroup, and come back the next week. Let's just go ahead and show off the big boy to start us off. You can see what I got there. It was a good 2 on the Hank Aaron rookie that came back from PSA. I am extremely happy with this. If you remember my preview video, I pretty much gave this one a 1. In my final pre-grade assessment before sending it off, I said 1.5. If you told me pick a whole number, I would have gone for 1, but it came back at 2. Most of you predicted it would be a 2 to a 2.5, and you guys were right on the money. So there you have it. Presents incredibly well. I'm thrilled with it. This is one of those that will be up in the store. It will be up in the store, as a matter of fact, by the time that you see this video. The only thing I'll say with it is this is one that I'm not going to be willing to give away, we'll say. I don't really have a problem holding on to this one. I think it's a beautiful example of this card, all things considered, and it's the first time I've ever owned a Hank Aaron. Is there a little bit of sentimental attachment to it? Maybe just a hair, not as much as some of the other cards I've had, but it is really cool. This is one that will certainly be memorable, I think, as things go along. As a dealer, I've come into contact with a lot of cards, and some of them I've kind of forgotten about unless I see pictures of them or I go back and look at my records. But there's some that really will always stand out to me, or at least they have always stood out to me since I sold them, and this might be, well, I can tell you right now, this probably will be one of them. So excited to get that back. All right, WhatNot. You might have heard of WhatNot in recent days, probably for the wrong reasons because of a certain host, or host I should say, on there. We won't talk about that in today's video. I'm going to show you some reputable hosts that sent me some cards that I won in their auctions, and I've really been enjoying using it. I've been told for a long time to get on there, both to buy and to sell. I did apply to sell. One of the things they ask for is a strong social media presence, and I would say that my channel here, some of the sports card channels that are more popular have a much larger following than me, and their analytics are much stronger, I'm sure. I don't really compare myself to them. In fact, the only time that I've really kind of compared myself to them at all has been during this application process and kind of getting a feel. So I'm also kind of vanilla, seeing some of the personalities on there. Sometimes I don't know if my personality really is what they're going for, but I do have a strong sales record with at least, the 10,000 plus feedback on eBay, 100% positive, just have 2 neutrals on my profile. So I'm hoping that will be enough to carry me to eventually get to sell on there. But buying wise, it's been a lot of fun. Most of the people on there do breaks, but there are quite a few single sellers, and I kind of pick my spots. I've got some really incredible cards coming in probably later this week. I would guess they'll ship out today due to the holiday weekend. But with that said, let me show you what it has come in already. So the first one from this seller, this was a lot that I really don't even remember picking up. Maybe that's a bad thing. But I did go back in my notes, and I did have this one written down because I like to write down what I got and how much I paid for it, just so I know for my own records. But this was a little 3-card lot that was really cheap. I think people kind of slept on this one. Mac Jones certified graffiti insert. I'll be curious to see how people respond to the Mac Jones market, given that he's going to kind of leave a sour taste in the mouth of many with how the Patriots season ended over Wild Card weekend. But I don't know. That'll be curious to follow if people will jump off the train or if people will still give Mac Jones as much love as they have been up until this point in the 2021 NFL product release cycle. Here's a guy who had a fantastic year, Jonathan Taylor. Relic card there, numbered to 50. And then I really don't even remember this card, Benny Snell Jr., Rookie Phenoms. Maybe this might have been a toss-in because I don't even have this one in my notes. So that was that. And then I got 7 slabs from the seller. The first 5 are all from the same product, and it is the 2018 Prism Mosaic. So before Mosaic was a standalone product and brand, it was an offshoot of regular Prism basketball. Came out in 2016 was the first time we saw it. And you'd seen some of the Mosaic patterns before. There's a Giannis rookie, for example. One of the red, white, and blues is more of a Mosaic pattern, where the other one's a Pulsar pattern. So they've kind of played around with this technology before. The black finite 101 prisms. I don't know if they still have this, but they do have, back then they do have the Mosaic pattern to them. I have a Cabrera from 2013 Prism that has that pattern. But it was really popular back then, and I think the popularity only increased as time went on, where they made it its own offshoot, where you had these Mosaic parallels. And then on top of that, eventually Panini decided just to make it its own standalone product, and it's been immensely popular over its first 2 releases. Kind of right up there with that number 3 spot, I would say, for overall popularity. Kind of taking National Treasures out of the equation just because I think it's a bit of a different product. But right there, I think in a tier below Optic and Prism. But these are all 10s here. I did not pay really all that much for these. And there's no names here that are really going to blow you away. D'Angelo Russell. Here's Ben Simmons. Blake Griffin. I will say I do like the design adjustments that were made for the Mosaic release compared to the regular Prism basketball release from this year. I like how it's more centered. I just think it looks more visually appealing. Kevin Huerter rookie is probably the most expensive among the cards in here. And then a Buddy Hield as well. So, like I said, there's no names here that are going to rock your socks, so to speak. But just really solid cards, and for the price that I got them at, you're not going to be able to grade these, or at least, I mean, you could if you really wanted to, but I don't think it would be the best use of, I guess, a $50 PSA voucher if you're lucky enough to get an allocation to grade one of those types of cards. So I will pick up 10s if it's the right player and they're cheap enough. Believe it or not, there are people who buy those players specifically out of my store. And when I see their stuff for cheap enough, if the opportunity is right, then I'll jump on it, especially when I can combine shipping with some of the other pickups. And that's what I did here. One of the cards I won, this was actually a throw-in. Anthony Edwards, School Colors, Mint 9. This guy who was selling these, he had so many Contenders draft slabs, and unfortunately for him, a lot of them were 8s and 9s, and he was kind of blowing them out. This one was just kind of a toss-in. I didn't really pay any additional on my bid, or I didn't factor in any additional funds on my bid for this card being in there. I just kind of considered this one a freebie, so whatever it went at, and was able to take it down. I don't remember exactly which card that was bundled with, but it was cool nonetheless. And then this was the big one. So this was, I guess, the chaser, if you want to call it. So if you spend a certain amount of money, you got to spin on a wheel. There's a lot of gimmicks that you'll see on WhatNot. Some people will do like a dice roll game. Some people will do wheels. And this person had a wheel to win a Lebron Rookie Exclusives PSA 9, as you see here. Now, I did not win the wheel spin. I did come close one of the times that I did get a wheel spin. Some people were extremely close. Like I thought for sure they were going to have it, and they ended up not getting it. So this was at the end of the night because the guy was getting off the stream. He decided to put it up at auction, and I was able to take it down for about half of what I had seen they were selling for. I kind of just tossed up my bid, played around with a couple of people trying to bid me up a little bit, and I reached my max, and I said, you know what, if it goes any more than this, they can have it. Well, nobody else contested me at that point, so very thrilled to pick up this LeBron rookie exclusives. And then a couple more here. These were from another seller who I bought from a couple times now. They've become one of my favorite sellers. They're very quick with their shipping. They package stuff incredibly well, and I think that they're pretty professional too. They had a ton of this product here, Panini 1-in-1 basketball. Now, I do really like this product for singles. It is the epitome of a buy singles product, just because I've seen some of what you can consider case hits not even get back the cost of the box, which I think is problematic, and it speaks a lot to how wax prices are right now. They're starting to correct themselves, I've seen, but there's still a lot more room to go, I think, until we can kind of justify what wax prices are. Of course, this is coming from someone who does rip cases of certain products when I can justify it, and I think it is worth it. But a lot of products that I would normally at least maybe consider just haven't been able to, solely because of what wax prices have been. But again, this one right here, these boxes, they were at one point $1,500 to $1,600 a box, and you only get 2 cards, hence the name 1-in-1. I think they have come down, or at least that's how the trends have shown. This is not really a product that I would have much interest in terms of breaking or even joining group breaks. So I don't really follow how the wax is doing on it too much. But this one right here was a Joel Embiid, and none of these cards were even remotely close to box price. None of them were even 10% of box price, which was kind of crazy. So this Embiid number to 30, this is a blue parallel. Matches really well the shade of blue here. It's difficult to see on camera, but it's kind of got like a multi-tone to it. But when it doesn't refract, easy for me to say, the light, it really mirrors the Sixers color as well. So that one was cheap enough where it stood out to me and I jumped on it. This one was also just cheap. I bid on many of these and I lost most of them. They were sudden death auctions, which can be difficult to win, and I also get extremely nervous bidding on those. I can talk about that in a different video because this one is running a bit long as it is, but I always get a little antsy when I see a sudden death auction and there's a lot of people, because usually it means that conditions are right to overpay. So it's being very cautious, and that's why I only won a few of these. There were certainly a few more that I would have definitely taken down at the end price that they went at, but just was a little bit shy on those and missed out. But Tatum here, number 99. This is the base version, quote unquote base version of this 1-in-1 cards. Just got like a very shiny silver foil finish to it. Absolutely beautiful. So I was happy with that one. And then I was going for several of the RPAs. Being a Pistons fan, I was looking at some of the Sadiq Bey stuff, but there were a few guys in there who were, I guess, just big Sadiq Bey guys, and they wanted them a lot more than I did. Let's just put it that way. So I ended up letting those go, but I was happy that I let one of them go, though. Closest one I came to winning, because the next card that was put up was one that I had missed out on earlier in the night, and I won mine for probably $50 cheaper than the previous one had sold for, which was very shocking to me because the guys were hyping this card up, and a lot of people thought this was a really cool card. It is the Dirk base card. Now, I don't really buy too much Dirk. I loved Dirk as a player back when he was playing, particularly in the series that you're seeing depicted here. As you'll see in the background there, yep, that is LeBron. So this was a photo from what I would assume to be the 2011 NBA Finals, when Dirk and the Mavericks took down the Big Three Miami Heat. That was the first year of the Big Three. course, they made the NBA Finals all 4 years that they were together, won the championship twice, but this was their first go at it. And really, they were the ultimate villains in the NBA at this time. So I know that I personally didn't like the big three. I've always actually been a big Dwayne Wade fan, not so much on LeBron or Chris Bosh. But the one time I didn't like D-Wade was back then, just because, well, they were the ultimate evil in the NBA with the super team. So when Dirk was able to help propel the Mavericks to beat the Heat, I just remember that was a very fond basketball memory, kind of post Pistons dominance when I was younger. So to get a nice jump shot photo there of Dirk with LeBron in the background, I just think is super cool. These go for probably a lot more than you would guess on the secondary market, and I think a big reason for that is because LeBron is on the card, but it's just one of those that really stood out to me, so I went after it. And that was it for the first WhatNot video pickup. So I'm hoping one day to be able to sell on there. I put in my application at the start of January. It's been a few weeks now and haven't heard back. I've heard some people take a few months for them to get approved. So we'll see. I haven't heard that I have been denied, so at least that's a good thing, but I don't really know what the timeline on that will look like. So until then, let me know what you think of today's pickups. I should have more of these here in the future. If I'm feeling well enough, then tomorrow I'll put out a new podcast episode. If not, then we'll pick it up next week. Then should have a PSA submission reveal for you guys coming up within the next few days as well for a very large submission we had come back. So until then, take care, stay safe, be kind.